And we have a juicy conversation here, guys. Injury time out. Xiyu Wang, Victoria Azarenka, Doha. Very interesting conversation here. Now, on the call for this match is Andrea Petkovic. That's right. She recently retired, a German great doubles, amazing singles player, and very long career, right? Very consistent and former top 20 player. She said herself, injury timeouts she feels are unproductive. She feels it ruins the momentum of the player, and you kind of have to go back out there and find your rhythm. I like Petkovic because that's exactly how I feel, right? And I think Venus Williams said it best. There's not much a physio can do. If you're seriously injured, you can't play. You're either injured or you're not. Now, this particular example, Xiyu Wang, she has what appears to be blisters on her toes, right, which is very common. And Petrovic would go on to say, if I had blisters on my feet, that's something that normally before the match that you have them. So normally, I would deal with them before the match. But she said, there's no way I would call a medical timeout for blisters. She said, that's just something I would just have to play through. Now, of course, everyone's different. Everyone's body is different. People feel things differently. Pain levels, essentially are different depending on the person. Some people can tolerate it, some people can't. Now, the co-announcer mentioned, well, what if you're losing? So he's kind of hinting that players call injury timeouts when they're injured, or sometimes to slow up the momentum of the person they're playing. This is something, look, I watch a lot of tennis. We all know that, right? I cover a lot of tennis. This is something that does happen in the sport. Players will call injury timeout to slow up the momentum. We saw Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova do that to Sloane Stephens several years ago when Sloane was about to serve out the match, and Sloane got really ticked off. She's like, are you kidding me? You're going to call an injury timeout right now? Like, the match is over. Why would you do that? So she did that to frustrate Sloane, right? And of course, they almost got into a fight over it. We see players like Anna Kalinskaya. She's known to do that a lot. We saw her do that last year against Ann Helena, even with the Russian-Ukraine drama going on. That was brutal. Ann Helena got upset. We saw her do it again to Elise Cornet. Cornet got very upset, and it ruined Cornet's momentum, and Cornet ended up losing that match. So players do that a lot. And again, Petrovic says, that's just not something I do. She's like, I rarely like to call injury timeouts because if I'm injured, I can't play. But again, I agree with Petrovic because we think alike, and a lot of the things she says I really, really agree with. I'm the type of person, sports is about rhythm and timing. Calling an injury timeout, it completely, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I think it depletes your momentum, and I think it really diminishes your adrenaline. Sports is about adrenaline. When you're injured, I've played so many times injured. When you have that adrenaline flowing, you don't even feel the injury till after the match. And we're going to pivot here because for those guys that really follow tennis, you remember one time when Victoria Azarenka was hated on tour. She was notorious for calling for physical timeouts. And a lot of people thought, just like Anna Kalinskaya, she wasn't injured. And Anna and Victoria, they're hitting partners. They practice a lot. Is she learning something from Big Sister? I don't know. But there was a time on tour where Victoria Azarenka was hated because she would call a lot of injury timeouts, and people thought that she was faking it. They thought she was not injured. And we see that happen a lot, but nonetheless, Xiyu Wang resumes, and Victoria Azarenka, she serves it out. Good win. This is literally like the 173rd or something like that, 1,000 win for Victoria Azarenka. That's right. She's won at least 170 victories in master events. That's impressive. And that's amongst the leaders on tour with Venus Williams. Xiyu Wang doesn't look happy. She's injured. And in the post-match interview, Victoria Azarenka has some beautiful things to say. It's National Sports Day or something like that. So guys, make sure you like the video, show some love. But she said she thinks Xiyu Wang's going to be a good player. She's a good doubles player. She said there's a lot of top talent in the Chinese world. And she said, after having Leo, it's been, just an adjustment mentally to find a balance. Whereas before Leo, her goal was to win slams and be number one. Now it's just about finding the balance to be a professional and show him how hard she works and be consistent. And that's true, because I remember, right around having Leo, Victoria Azarenka was just struggling. She looked horrible. And I say it all the time, she looked like a steak dinner to these younger athletes coming up, where she was coming out laying 3 and 4 to 1 odds and she was losing outright. But she gets a victory behind the first serve. She played very, very well. Congratulations, Victoria Azarenka. And remember, guys, I remember a time where it wasn't all peachy for Victoria Azarenka. She needed sponsors, she needed funding, and she got the right proper funding, and there you go, she started winning Grand Slams. So tennis is a very expensive sport. It's all about funding, and it's about winning. And sometimes it's very tough to break through, even if you have talent. If you don't have the right sponsors and the right people behind you, the right management, it's about getting in these tournaments, for one, and being able to showcase your talent. It's about balancing your schedule, everything. But nonetheless, guys, would you take a look at the draw here? Ostapenko, Iga Swiatek in the quarterfinal, possibly. If so, guys, look, I told you guys, check out the community. Coco or Iga to win. You can hedge it, take free money. And today, what do we think? Coco and Rybakina on the victory. One gets you back 4.5. Why not do that? But yeah, quick parlay here. Quick 2 picks for Tennis in a Minute. Like the video. Show some love. We'll be back, guys.